Cool. All right. Welcome everyone to season 3, episode 13. Today is about scaling passports. So let's get straight into the overview. Last week we shipped the app experience improvement. So if you head on over to ARCx.money, you now have the site responsive on mobile, which is super nice. And part of last week, we also managed to get a lot closer with aligning the entire team around a single set of goals. So internally, Notion is now becoming this mega source of truth where everyone spends a lot of time in, which is great to see. So it's kind of the engineering team, the data team, the business team, just bringing it all together, which has been great. We had our first official sprint planning to get the entire team aligned on kind of the roadmap and the products we want to start building out. So that's kind of alluding to the point before around kind of alignment. And then we managed to finish off the first iteration of our internal risk tool for borrowing called Matrix, and I think Kel might be touching up on that a bit later on. So that was a recap of last week. In terms of the week coming up, pretty big week and super excited for it. We've got free and partially instant passports. So the TLDR of this is that you'll be able to claim a passport for certain subsets of users instantly and for free. And we'll have formal comms coming around how the process works and what existing users can expect who've already got passports. Second thing we're working on is product analytics, so we can better understand user interactions. This is especially important because we want to know how people are interacting with their passports and user behaviors we see that we can build better products for it. Third thing is thinking through our data content strategy. So we've got some amazing engineers and we've got some amazing technology with amazing data, and pulling the three together, figure out how can we create insights that serve the community, showcase our technology and our talent is a focus that's coming out through this data content strategy. So in the probably by next week or the week after, you'll be able to start seeing some really cool stuff. So we got some great traction with the ribbon airdrop analysis, and we want to kind of continue in that vein of high quality data content, I guess. Cool. And then other things is finding full-time designers. So just when you think hiring's done, there's always one more hire around the corner. The designer is really important because we have a lot of engineers who are producing a lot of work, and making sure that their design is building the right things is super important. Cool. Oh,
Australia.
let me just mute.
Discord on.
Don't worry, I've muted it.
Yep. All right, sweet. And then the last bit is thinking through the team retreat for early next year. We're a remote team of I think 12 or 13 full-time now, so getting everyone in the same place is going to be really exciting and really beneficial in terms of how we keep on building products into the future. So that's it for about this week. I want to give a big shout out to Diego, who I think is on this call. He's been really crushing it when it comes to the needs we have, because although all the data is public on chain and in various sources, extracting it and managing it is a whole nother skill set, and Diego is just this gift that keeps on giving. So thanks, Diego, and big shout out to you. And then challenges is probably there's working through the upcoming product specs quicker than the engineering team can crunch through them. Making sure we're building the right thing and we're building with precision is really important. And the second challenge, which isn't really included here, but I'll include it, is just thinking through more of the strategy piece around future products and how we plan on ordering them and bringing them out to market. So that's an overview across everything. I'll pass it over to engineering to give a more in-depth overview. So I guess Kyle or Gabe, not sure.
I'll let Gabe go through this. I'm having some technical difficulties right now.
Sure.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kerman. What's up, guys? I'm Gabriel. I'll cover what happened on the engineering part last week. So last week, like Kerman said, we released the app experience improvements, which includes the responsiveness. We have a bunch of things like the little button to toggle the passport animation, because I know for a lot of people, not everyone has the latest computer ever. So now there's a button that you can toggle the animation of the passport so that the app is a bit less heavy. But we also have a bunch of other things. And also we worked mostly on making the passports free. So that work is is almost done, is basically ready to go. We're testing it right now, and we're shipping that this week, which is a perfect segue for the things coming up this week. So we'll release the claiming passport for free. So now you're not gonna have to stake any ARCx for any period of time in order to get your passport. No more wait lists, no more, like, it's gonna be instant, and you'll mint your NFT right away. So this will be done this week. An announcement is gonna go through soon regarding what happens with the people who staked some ARCx before. So there's gonna be a refund, but we'll have all the details will be posted soon. So stay tuned. Also today, this week, we're gonna implement analytics. So we really want to know how our users behave on our website, and to make sure we ship features that are used and have impact. So analytics are key for that. So we're gonna use analytics more in depth in our website this week. And finally, also we want to start the UI work on cross-chain, because we're saying here the UI work because the infrastructure work is already done, which is very exciting. So there's not much left to enable cross-chain. So we're very excited to allow you to use our app on different chains, and the first chain that will go live is going to be announced soon. Shout out to the BD team. So good job, Kerman, Liam, Hugh, for I don't know what happened, but like now you're super organized. We have a pipeline of things that are coming through. Now the entire team can see what's up in the pipeline, and it's just very exciting, and it's very nice to have like clear goals and a central place where we can get our information. And finally, the challenge is to make sure that the release of making the passports free are smooth, and the communication is clear as well. So that's it for us in the engineering side.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Kerman. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So I realized after writing this, there's a couple of points I've forgotten, so some of it will be ad lib. But last week for us was really just a consolidation kind of week. We've been producing all these custom scores and things, and we wanted to make sure that we were, starting to slow down, refactor a bit of the data warehouse, get the developer workflow together, so we had more, more security around what we're releasing, more confidence in what we were releasing, and things like that. In terms of using less click ops, there were points of our work which is literally just clicking around, and wanted to automate all of that. We had worked on 2 new protocol scores, and we've deployed them into dev, and we just need basically approvals with partners and with the BD guys to kind of be happy about that. And then the last thing we were doing last week was just facilitating that insta-claim of passports. We had to do a little bit of refactoring in the background to enable that, so that's what we were doing. One thing I forgot to put on the last week was what Kerman mentioned, which is we had an internal release of our risk monitoring kind of simulation, so what we call the matrix. So we had a release of that. That's been presented, and that's very, very cool. We've kind of got an idea of what our first system configuration parameters are for go live, which is very, very exciting. This week, new scores. We want to keep making scores and keep publishing them. So that's a priority for the team this week. As Kerman mentioned, we're going to start producing analytics content for the community. So that ribbon finance analysis, which was done about a month ago, got really good reception, really good engagement. So we want to keep pushing on that, keep releasing content, and kind of show the things that we're doing and what we're working on, and basically showcase what we love to do. The last thing is just a bit of a teaser, which is good morning. So good morning is happening in the background. Shout outs, business. So yeah, so the same point that Gabe mentioned before, like the business guys have been just getting really, really structured, really, really streamlined, making it super clear what they're after and what's coming down the funnel. That makes a big deal for all the engineers. It makes our life a lot easier. So much appreciated. And then challenges is this deployment of scores. We've been finding that we've been building scores, but there's still a bit of chaos, for lack of a better word, right at the end of like, when do we release it? How do we hand it over? How do we get that really kind of solid, let's press a button and go live? That's one thing that we're focusing on, is going, how do we reduce that back and forth at the last stage of scores? That's basically it for data. Liam, you're next up on BD.
Hello. Okay, so last week, created three new protocol scores. So in the background, we're kind of creating this factory this score builder. It's becoming this factory of scores for different protocols and things like that. So I created three new ones, and we kind of described like creating these protocol scores as like loading up the ammunition, essentially, is like which is sort of making these things, and now we're figuring out how to go to market with them. And then I also ran 2 demos for a number of third-party protocols. So now the product's baked, we can push out scores into a staging environment or via a secret link. I can get feedback from different projects to say, is this the sort of score that you'd be interested in with us, and get their blessing. And I've also been getting more active last week in talking to the community. This is something I'm going to keep ramping up because it's so valuable. So I'll jump to a shout out early. So Dean, Michael, and Jamaz, love the feedback, love the engagement, and the perspectives that you have on what we're doing. It's actually worth its weight in gold. So thank you so much. And I'm going to try and get a little bit more scientific. A lot of these calls, so I see Dean Michael's on the call, pretty informal, me just like having a chat and just sort of getting a view. So I'm going to try and make it a little bit more like user researchy and like more clinical, but nevertheless, like the views that you guys are giving is like super valuable. So I really appreciate that. This week, so this sort of relates to this new KPI of these blessings. So in short, like getting retweets from other projects when we do a protocol score with them as a way of getting their formal endorsement. That's really something that I need to start moving the needle on to make sure that the scores coming out of Score Builder are essentially getting viewed by other communities, and there's that crossover between what we're doing and we're forming that relationship with other projects. So this week I'm going for my first blessing of a score, and then getting co-marketing there. I'll also be interviewing more community members to collect more insights, and I'm going to be developing a more of a clinical approach to that to make sure that I'm doing proper research and evidence gathering. I'm not just essentially selling to whoever I'm talking to and kind of leading them into saying what I kind of want them to confirm, which is a high risk for me. So I'm going to make sure that there's a little bit more of a clinical approach there. And then just developing more protocol scores and a new outreach method. So doing a lot of the time I've been sort of traditional sales, like getting on calls with every single project that I'm on and talking to them, which has been really valuable because it's sort of resulted in Score Builder and removing friction on how we do this. So from now on, though, I'm going to be now I've got more confidence in the product. I'm going to be developing scores in advance and doing more of a message-based approach, and then jumping on a call if there's any objections and things like that, and seeing if I can close out these blessings via that method. So the two, I also wanted to shout out Kale to say thanks for the engagement on the data side and for just figuring out how we can build a content strategy into this approach. Some challenges: getting this co-marketing funnel going and working, and then spending more time developing customer evidence in the community, getting that user research funnel happening as well. So that's everything from me this week.
Cool. Hey everybody, GM. So in operations world, last week, I've just got one dog point here but it's a big one. So lots of work spent last week on requirements. So as Kerman mentioned, we have this amazing engineering team that are just powering through all of this work that we've got. And it seems that we are we need to just build out that pipeline or that roadmap of requirements. So a lot of it was spent last week doing that. The main things to call out would be thinking through how we improve that score modal to build in game loops. So how do you improve your score? How do you understand the composition of the score, etc. Secondly, product analytics, so we can start tracking engagement and acquisition metrics. Thirdly, the free passport that we mentioned. and also working with a designer to produce an exclusive NFT potentially. And that will be all revealed in comms later this week. And then fourth is the analytics newsletter that Kale and Co are working on. So yeah, essentially the idea here is that we want to repurpose this insane capability that we have in our data team to answer really, really interesting questions about the blockchain ecosystem, and then present that in a really nice, fun and engaging newsletter for the benefit of everyone for free. So that's kind of the main features that we've been working on. In terms of this week coming, what we want to do is we want to start being more transparent about our roadmaps. So there's an item here around like surfacing that roadmap through like public channels. So you'll see that coming through later on this week. Secondly, I want to write some comms around that passport accessibility, as I mentioned. And alongside that, an exclusive NFT for all of our OG passport holders. And then finally, working with Kerman to start the recruitment drive for our product designer. So this is a really, really big one. And for those on the call, if anyone has or knows any kind of insanely good product designers who would be interested in joining us, then please DM me or Kerman, and yeah, that would be amazing. We're going to start putting out feelers today and throughout the next week. So that's really it for this week. One shout out, Liam and Kale. We're navigating this really ambiguous market which doesn't really exist, and I just wanted to say, like, props for doing it with style and under, like, cool as a cucumber. I don't know how to describe it, but there's definitely a lot of ambiguity, and I think we're doing a good job around that score design process and how we marry up the user, the business, and the data needs. I think the biggest challenge this week will be managing my time most effectively. I am still transitioning between my full-time job and ARC, so this is going to be like a kind of ongoing balancing act. But I've told my girlfriend that I'll give her time later on, so it should be all good. And that's it from my end.
Cool. I think that basically concludes everything for now. I guess providing a bit more extra context, it's a really exciting time, given that we spent like many months getting the right team in place, building up the infrastructure for the base passports, and the raw product in its current form. So the next few months are going to be really exciting, because now we can build stuff that people can see and actually play around and do a bunch of really exciting stuff, whereas the past 6 to 8 months has been the hidden grind that isn't really that sexy. So super excited to showcase to you all what's going to be coming up in the coming weeks, and thank you all for tuning in today. I'll catch you all next time. Bye.